Hi there, my fellow YouTubers. This is Cassandra72, and I am coming to you today with another tirzepatide Mounjaro weight loss update. Now, today is 9/3/2024, and I weighed in this morning at 334 pounds, which means I am a total of 27.6 pounds down. Now, that would mean that I am up 0.2 pounds since my last update on August the 27th. A few things I want to talk about in this quick update video because I only have about 30 more minutes before I anticipate being up out of the office. So I'm going to make this as quick as possible for that reason, and also due to the fact that these videos really have been too long for no more information than I feel like I'm given. So, but hopefully somehow it helps somebody. Am I disappointed with that? Slightly, but then again, not really, because I feel like it is completely possible to overeat the medication. And that is something that I felt like I had been doing. I hadn't, prioritized my protein. Probably was still getting in too many sweets, too many carbs, things of that nature that might have been just, kind of catching up with me. Also, like I said, just not making necessarily the best choices. I still felt like the suppression was there. And I do want to say that I'm still on 5 milligrams. I do feel like the suppression was still there. And I don't know really what to say about the food noise. I think I had it mildly, but still, to my way of thinking, it's still kind of gone. Because when I think about the food noise, it's thinking about I would see something and then automatically it's like, oh, I wasn't thinking about the food before, but now all of a sudden I really, really want that, and then ultimately end up having it, or then I'll get hungry or things like that. That's how I would think of it. I've heard other people kind of define it as just constantly thinking about, what it is that they're going to have for their next meal or something like that. And I may have found myself thinking about what it is that I'm going to have for the next meal, but it's more so along the lines of I'm kind of thinking about planning it. I'm kind of iffy on, how I would accurately describe that. But for the most part, I want to say it's pretty much still eradicated, I would want to say, because one thing that I guess a non-scale victory or small whatever kind of victory it is that you want to call it, is that, I do have certain things that I might have bought or my daughter brought me in that it's still sitting in the house, and I see it, it's in my line of sight, but it's not like, oh, I gotta have that. So that's good. I just know that I have to do better on the planning aspect and actually, doing the shopping to get the things that I need in-house, because that would be generally my downfall. But that's where I am. Like I said, 27.6 pounds down overall on the medication, which this would be my 15-week, 5-day update, because like I say, I do my shots on Thursdays. These updates are done on Tuesdays. It would have only been my 15th shot due to the fact that I messed up my very first shot. So my weeks kind of always were in my mind messed up because of, those two things. My update weeks were messed up because of those two things. The fact that, I missed that first shot, and then the fact that I film on Tuesdays. But in any event, and in my mind, I was always trying to figure out, like, what shot is it versus what week? Because everybody else, as we know, you take your first shot, but then you go through the week, you're updating. It's your first week, but it's your second shot generally. And I was off from that, and will always have to think in my mind, like, okay, where are we? Now, not so much, because this is what happened. This is the major thing I guess I will update you guys on this week. I've now taken actually 16 shots. That is one thing I meant to look up before I got on the camera to update. But because I wanted to make sure that I was giving the right information, but I think I do have it. I do know that, if I'm recalling correctly, if you miss a shot, you have up until the 4th day to take it. And then after that, so what, 96 hours? Is that right? To take up to 96 hours to take it. So that 4th day. If you go more than that, just go ahead and skip and wait till the next week. Also, you can take shots no more than 3 days apart. And so, if I just go to my Shotzi real quick. Last week, I did do my shot in the lower. So where was I? I last updated you guys on the 27th. And on the 29th, being a rogue or whatever, yet again, I decide I'm going to take this shot in my love handle again. And the last time I did it on the right, this time I did it on the left. Now, when I did it on the right, I only lost 1.2 pounds, which was not bad. But it just wasn't this grandiose loss that other people say they had when they experimented with it. I said then that no, really wasn't going to do that anymore, right? Well, what did I do? I went right back and I did it again. Right back and I did it again. Now, I did do the left thigh on the 22nd. I only lost 0.3 pounds. And I was down to 335.1, it says. Yeah, that was on the 29th. So, yeah, on the 27th, I had gone down to 333.8 when I last updated you guys. So I was doing really well, but then I ended up gaining up to 335.1. Really should be 335.2 because that's what my scale measures in increments of, but somehow, I guess, in the background of these apps, they're kind of rounding things that I don't see, and so it put me at 335.1. And so that is actually what I started the shot on. Now, as of yesterday, Monday, this love handle, which is, this is really the shot that I'm updating you, well, yeah, kind of the shot that I'm updating you on, I guess. I was only down to 335 to 335, so only 1/10 of a pound. And then I got to thinking, I just was not going to be happy with, the way things were going. It just wasn't, I don't know if it was the love handle portion or the fact that the 5 milligram, maybe I am starting to acclimate to that, and maybe its usefulness has run the course. But in any event, I decided to do a little bit of an experiment. And I've already told you that I'm at 334 this morning. So yesterday, I decided to take another 5 milligram. I decided that I had taken the shot on when I took the shot on the 29th. I took it on Thursday, so that was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was 4 days. It was 4 days since I had taken my shot. I just felt like, you know what? We're going to go ahead and do this. Because like I said, did I mention that? So, as I stated, I do believe you have until, if you miss a shot, you have up to 96 hours, 4 days to take the missed shot. But then also, if you are somehow, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why they would have even mentioned that, but when I saw that I was down only 335 pounds, so what I looked, and I was only down 1/10 of a pound, that just really was not sitting well with me. So I decided to go ahead and take another shot of the 5 milligram. And yeah, I kind of toyed with what I was going to do. So when I was down 1/10 of a pound, I kind of started to toy in my mind with what it was that I wanted to do at this point, because I was not happy, really when I happy with that 1/10 of a pound, even though a loss is a loss is a loss. And I do understand that. And I could have been happy with it, but I just felt like, how much was I really going to lose in another couple of days at that point? And I just was not sure what I was going to end up looking like. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I just wasn't sure what it was going to look like, and wasn't sure if I was really going to be happy with myself. So it was decision time. Now, I think in my last video, I was trying to determine, where I was going to go with these shots. If I was going to, as far as the dosage went, was I going to continue on since I had that another full box of the 5, or was I going to go ahead and move up to the 7.5? So I will tell you, I have decided that as of Thursday, I will be moving to the 7.5. So my dilemma on yesterday was, do I go ahead and, since I just knew that in my mind this love handle was not the thing. That's what I figured. I'm like, it's either love handle or it's the 5. But I figured more than likely it was the love handle, and I felt like I had kind of wasted a shot, if you will. So the decision yesterday was, I knew I was going to take a shot, but it was, do I take a 5, and then not have my full box of 5 sitting there? Because I've kind of decided in my mind that, when I get up to the higher doses, say like the 12.5 or something like that, if I have like a 7.5 and a 5, I could take that and, or when I got to the 10, if it wasn't available, we'll take 2 of them and whatever. So I did want to have the full box. That was a thing. I'm kind of all about the even numbers. It's the numbers person in me. It's the numbers person in me. So I kind of wanted to make sure everything was even. But the shot is good, I think, until like 2026. It's at least good until 2025. I know that. But I think it was 2026 when I looked at the shot. So I definitely have time for it to sit there for me to determine how it is I'm going to use it. If it's going to end up being a maintenance dose, if it's going to end up being something that I need to tide me over until such time as I can find medication, if there's ever a shortage again, or however it is that I'm going to end up doing it, I will have that box sitting out there. And I would have liked for it to have been a full box, but it is what it is, because what I decided to do was go ahead and take the 5. Because if not, and I had taken the 7.5, well, I wasn't going to turn around and do another 7.5 again on Thursday. So, and I wanted to go ahead and do the shot yesterday so that today's update could possibly not look as bad as it was going to look. I have gained again. That just is not going to be, I would have, I'm still up 0.2 pounds, like I said, from the last time I weighed in, but I didn't want to be up more than that. It's the vanity of coming to YouTube and documenting this thing for it to be out there for all posterity. And I know there probably will be some weeks where I truly gain, but I just wasn't prepared to do it this early on. Well, yeah, that is, like I said, that is what prompted that decision. So yes. So yeah, that's what I did, because like I said before, the directions and the website and everything do say that if you miss a dose, you do have up to 96 hours after the missed dose. And then you should skip that dose if you go more than that and just take it on the next week. They say do not take the shots less than 72 hours apart. Make sure there are at least 72 hours between doses. So that's why I went ahead and took it yesterday, because that would have put me, number one, over 72 hours. And then if I waited, say, till today and then turned around and wanted to take it again on Tuesday, that would have been, on Thursday, my regular shot day, to catch back up, then that would have put the doses too close. And so that is why I went ahead and did it when I did. But I am happy about that, because like I said, when I stepped on the scale this morning, I was already down 1 pound. So that does lead me to believe that the love handle is not a spot for me. Now, I cannot tell you still if there is any other spot that is more so better for me than anywhere else, but this shot I did take in my stomach, and I did switch it up again a little bit and did like the lower mid stomach. So who knows, maybe this will be the sweet spot, shall we say. But Other than that, I haven't determined that any other, because I lost like a pound in a day, clearly. But other than that, I haven't made a determination as to whether or not any other spot is any better than the others. I just know that, baby girl, for me, the love handle is not here. It's not it. It's not it for me. Yeah, so that's where I am. I don't think I have anything else that I want to add. Like I said, I have decided that I'm moving up to the 7.5, and I will still be taking that on my regularly scheduled date, which will be September the 5th. And I am really excited, anxious to see what it is that one is going to do for me. I'm real excited about that. I will say that that's what I wanted to say about shots. See, I know there's always something that I can't remember, that I want to tell you guys. Yeah, I took that Mounjaro shot at 4:25 yesterday, so I'll make sure that I take it probably at least by 4:30. No earlier than 4:30 on the 5th is when I will take the next shot, because I don't want to be overdosing on my Mounjaro over here, and I'm going to have an excess amount in my system anyway, because as I go back over to Shotzi, as of right now, it's estimating that I have 8.01 milligrams in my system right now, which is in no way is really an overdose when there's a shot that goes up to 15 milligrams. However, I am still, fairly new to the medication. So being just this is 4 months in now, 16 weeks. 16 weeks. So that is pretty freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm just ready to pull some higher numbers. And yeah, 8.01. That's crazy. Like I said, that's what I love about this shot. See, I think 8.02 was the highest it looked like that I was supposed to get to. It was probably at about 1 p.m. It's going on 3 o'clock now. And at this point, that, like I said, that was the highest. So it will start to taper off. And it's estimating that when I take my shot on the 5th, I'll still have like 6.84 milligrams left at that point, and then I'm going to take a 7.5 on top of that. So I suspect that this next couple of weeks is going to yield some pretty good results. Now, what will it be totally because I'm on a 7.5? Or will it be because of the fact that I kind of, in a sense, doubled up in a week? Or will it be because I made sure that I'm prioritizing my protein and getting in some activity and getting in my water? Or will it be a combination of those things? Remains to be seen. But I do really hope that I'm going to finally break under 330, which is really where I want to be. I really am ready to break under that number and then finally under 320 again. Anybody else out there have like multiple milestones? Probably not as many as me, since I started out on this medication at 360 pounds. But yeah, I have multiple milestones, because I don't know if anyone else is like me as well. There used to be a time where I'm so glad to finally be like back at this weight. Not that I'm totally comfortable here. Let's not get that twisted in the least. I am not. But what I am happy about is the fact that my mobility is way better. Not getting winded just, walking outside to my car. This is kind of where I was. Like I said, with the different weights, 320 is where I was when I got pregnant with my daughter. So I'm only 10 pounds away from that. And I don't remember, and of course, we're talking about 19 years ago as well. But so yeah, I had a little bit more youth on my side. But because that's a factor as well. But I just don't recall ever feeling, even at 320, I don't recall feeling like, oh God, I was just gonna pass out at any minute from walking down the street. So where I did at say 340, 360, definitely when I got up to 380, that was not fun. Not fun at all. So I'm glad to be in this realm of where I felt more so comfortable at. But yeah, that's why I just have so many milestone weights or different goal milestones before I reach the final, which I'm not even sure right now where the final truly will be for me before I decide that I'm going off into maintenance. Because the fact of the matter is, I mean, I would love to be under 200. I would love to get into Wonderland. That is sure for sure. But I honestly don't recall being anything less than like 196 pounds. And I know that I was because I would have gained weight in high school. But I just remember that in the 11th grade, getting measured for those band uniforms that we were going to have in the 12th grade, I was 196. And that's the last thing that I remember. So I do remember being another. I probably remember being about, and I probably do remember also being about 230. I guess I'm estimating. I don't know when I got when I went off to college and then ultimately graduated from college. 230 is another milestone, I guess, that's in my head. But you know, and I know that that wasn't the most ideal because stairs have always been a beast for me. They've always been a beast for me, and that was even when I was way, way younger, because I was in my 20s then. So, but we had some stairs that, baby, just even the smallest person was winded going up those things. So, I guess I shouldn't beat myself up too bad, but yeah, I just want to be healthier again, and I don't know ultimately what that end goal is going to be. But like I said, I do just have, different milestones along the way. I'm just ready to break under 330 because that seems to be playing with me. I've been trying to get to that, with the, back to when I was on Weight Watchers, it was just like, break those things up into, smaller milestones since you have, if you have like the 50, 60, 100 pounds to lose, that seems like such a daunting number. So break it up into the fives. And so that's what I was doing. And and I had reached like I said last week, I was at 333.8. But I think that's the lowest that I have been. It might have been 333.6. I know, only 2/10 of a pound, but 2/10 of a pound is 2/10 of a pound. Remember, I'm a numbers person. so yeah, let me look at that. Yeah, 333.6 is the lowest that I was per my Renfo app. So yeah, and I'm not even sure what date that was, but so I've been playing around this last couple of weeks on this Mounjaro shop. So we need to get it together. I was hoping that I was gonna be under 330 by, well, initially in the Renfo app I said in a day, which I guess I probably was meaning by, probably more so by the fifth, this next shot that I'm going to take. And at this point, I don't see losing 4 pounds in 2 days. That's just not even a thing. Let's just be realistic. But I would like to, if at all possible, it really would be nice if I could get there by the end of next week, at least. So, but yeah, so I feel like once I get there, then I'm probably just going to say 320. I'm going to shoot for 320. I know it's 10 pounds. It's not that 5 pound increment like I just said. But yeah, that's going to be a thing for me, is to, get to 320 because that was my pregnancy weight or pre-pregnancy weight. And I don't know what I would do, but I will tell you what I want to do. It's so amazing the things that you do remember. I got up to 370 with my daughter. And then like the very next checkup, I was 369, so lost a whole pound. Woo. It's because I gave 50 pounds to her, so I was 369 pounds when they checked me in to the hospital to give birth to her. And then I did, she had her issues, which I knew about pre-birth, but pre-delivery, and I had my issues because I ended up developing blood clots. So while she was in the NICU for 2 weeks, then I was in hospital for about a week as well. They released me and I set foot off the hospital only to basically go and give my cousin some gas, who picked me up from the hospital, put my bags in his car. I actually did not touch, my feet did not touch the ground. I was out of hospital. I immediately, because I'm like, my baby's up here. I gotta go see my child. I'm like, I'm checking out and my child is not. You mamas know about how that is, mamas and dads. And so I'm like, yeah, they can kick me out of this room, but I'm getting ready to go back up here to see my baby during these visiting hours. So my bags were put into his car, and then we rode down the street because he needed some gas. I paid for him some gas. And then he dropped me right back off at the front of the hospital to go and see my kid. And then I just ended up I fell asleep in the room, seeing her, and then ultimately woke up with chills. He thought something was wrong, and I'm like, no, I'm fine, I'm just cold, But then, the maternal thing kicked in. Maternal, parental, I don't want to, discriminate against any parental unit out there. So the parental thing kicked in, and I'm like, you know what, single parent here. So I'm all she got. So let me go and see in case there really is something wrong. Now, like I said, long story short, did have blood clots. And one was above my knee. So they admitted me to the hospital. And so I was in there for about a week and I had nothing but hospital food to eat. Which was fine. A lot of people do complain about that, but they got it right, I think. I think they got it right. Now, I'm not sure how many pounds I dropped when I had her, because I was carrying a lot of excess fluid due to a condition that she had. And probably dropped about, you're dropping so many pounds with the baby and the fluid and stuff anyway. So I probably dropped about 20 pounds off the rip from birth. But then after being in the hospital with her, having her, and then subsequently being readmitted to my blood clot issue, I lost 58 pounds in 11 days. So that put me at 311. So that's going to be my next goal after 320 will be the 311. And then probably 307, because that's the lowest that I got to after having her. Before I was just so stubborn and said, I'm going back to Weight Watchers. I'm going back to Weight Watchers. But did not want to step foot in Weight Watchers. It probably would have been my fourth or fifth, maybe not that many at that point. I don't remember. I did not, it was at least the third. I did not want to go back to Weight Watchers again over 300 pounds. Because, it was like that goal. I think they should give you the initial 10 pound, 10, the initial goal was something like 10. And then they changed it to where it was 5%. It's not on this keychain. I do still have, when I went back once and they had changed it to the 5%, and I did get that little charm, and it is still on my keychain right now to this day. But yeah, I did not want to go back at over 300 pounds. So got down, like I said, to that 307, and then, started going back up. So, but I would just be glad when my body gets back to, I guess, the 330. I went through all that rambling dissertation, for lack of a better word, to say that I feel like your body has certain set points. And right now, I feel like this 334, 335 is trying to be my set point. Which is weird to me, because there was once upon a time, I want to say around at 320, and probably I'm sure it was maybe 310, 315 or whatever at another point. But 320 is what I distinctly remember. It's like you going to sleep and, you know, I couldn't sleep comfortably if I was anything over, say, 320. It was just like, you know, I got to prop my pillow up a certain way or what have you because I just don't feel like, you know, I'm going to get the oxygen or whatever it is that I need. I'm just not, you know, don't feel like my airway or whatever is clear enough to sleep well or something when I was over 320. But then ultimately, guess what? You got up to 325, 330. And then you adapt. But, you know, I don't want to keep adapting upward. Let's adapt downward. That's what we're going for. That's what we're going for. All right, so this wasn't supposed to be a long video at all. I did not mean to hold you guys for this long. Those of you who did stick with me, I appreciate you doing so. But yeah, that's where we're at. If you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave them below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, until the next video, you guys, peace and blessings. Bye.